The alarm went off, and you didn't want to get up. Good. This is exactly where it starts. Because the run you don't want to do is the only run that changes you. Anyone can move when they feel like it. Feeling like it is not the plan. The plan is the plan. So lace up. We're going anyway. Here is the first truth, and it's a hard one. Nobody is coming. Nobody is coming to run this for you. Nobody is coming to drag you out of bed, to carry your legs up that hill, to breathe for you when your lungs are burning. The coach can't run it. Your friends can't run it. The people who believe in you, they can cheer, but they cannot take a single step on your behalf. This road only counts the steps you take yourself. And the moment you stop waiting for rescue is the moment you become dangerous. Somewhere out there, there is another version of you. The one who got up every single morning. The one who ran when it rained. Who ran tired. Who ran slow but ran anyway. That version of you is not a fantasy. It is a decision. Every morning you get one vote. Get up and you vote for that person. Stay down and you vote against them. You don't become that version of you in one heroic day. You become them by winning 100 boring mornings that nobody ever sees. People say they're waiting for motivation. Let me tell you what motivation really is. Motivation is the weather. Some days it shows up warm and golden, and some days it doesn't show up at all. You cannot build a life on weather. Discipline is the climate. Discipline is what remains at 5 in the morning when the excitement is gone and it's dark and cold and quiet, and the only sound is your own breathing asking you if you're serious. Answer with your shoes. Answer with the door closing behind you. You will almost never feel ready. Run anyway. You will rarely feel strong at the start. Start anyway. The mood follows the movement. It has never once been the other way around. Now let's talk about the burn. That fire in your legs at the top of the hill. That tightness in your chest when you push past what was comfortable last week. You've been taught to treat that as a warning. It's not a warning. It's a receipt. It is proof of payment, proof that you are buying something today that your old self could not afford. Comfort costs you nothing today and everything later. Effort costs you today and pays you for the rest of your life. That is the whole trade. The pain of discipline weighs ounces. The pain of regret weighs everything. So when it starts to burn, don't panic. Smile if you have to. That is the sound of the door opening. There's a voice that shows up around the middle. You know the one. It says slow down. It says this is far enough. It says nobody would know. That voice is not evil. It's just old. It was built to keep you safe. And it thinks safe means small. But here's what you have to understand. That voice is not the boss. It gets a seat on the bus, but it does not get the wheel. Every time you keep going while it's talking, it gets quieter. Not today, maybe not this week, but slowly, mile by mile, you are training it to trust you. The strongest runners you've ever seen aren't people without that voice. They're people who outran it so many times it finally learned to whisper. And stop looking at everyone else's race. Someone will always be faster. Someone will always be further along, fitter, younger, luckier, better rested. Irrelevant. All of it. There is exactly one runner you are competing with, and they're wearing your shoes from yesterday. Beat them. Beat them by 1 street. Beat them by 1 minute. Beat them by getting out the door on the one morning they stayed in. Run your mile, your pace, your road. Comparison will steal the joy out of your strongest day if you let it. Don't let it. Here's what nobody tells you about the days you don't quit. They stack, silently. Every run you finish gets stored somewhere deep, and on the day life truly tests you, and that day is coming, it always comes, you will reach down and find all of them waiting. The morning you got up in the rain. The evening you ran after the worst day at work. The hill you swore you couldn't climb, that you now barely notice. That's not fitness. That's evidence. You're building a case, run by run, that you're the kind of person who does not fold. And that case gets argued everywhere. In your work, in your family, in the promises you keep. The road is just the classroom. What you're really training is your word. Because think about what a run actually is. It's a promise made by the version of you who set the alarm, kept by the version of you who woke up hating it. Every finished run is your word becoming solid. Every skipped one teaches you, quietly, that your promises have exits. That's why this matters more than the distance ever will. You're not building legs. You're building a self you can rely on. A self that, when it says tomorrow morning, means tomorrow morning. So it's gonna hurt some days. You'll be slow some days. There will be mornings where the whole world seems designed to keep you inside. The rain, the cold, the perfectly reasonable excuse. Those are not obstacles to the work. Those mornings are the work. Anyone can run in the sunshine. The rain is where they're separated, the ones who wanted it from the ones who talked about it. One more thing before you go. Stop waiting for the finish line to feel proud. You don't earn pride at the finish line. You earn it at the front door, at the moment of decision, in a half second where you almost turned back and didn't. Everything after that is just collecting what you already earned. So here it is. The road is out there right now. It doesn't care about your mood, your excuses, or your history. It only asks one question, the same question every single day. Are you coming or not? Get up, lace up, run the mile you're in. And when your mind says you're done, run one more street, just to remind it who's driving. If this got you out the door, take it with you. Save it. Put it in your ears tomorrow morning and send it to the one friend who runs with you, or the one who keeps saying they'll start. Drop a comment with the city you're running in today. And if you want a new speech like this every week, subscribe and turn on the bell. Now go. The road is waiting, and so is the other you. So you failed. Good. Now we can start. I know that's not what you wanted to hear. You wanted someone to tell you it wasn't your fault, that the timing was wrong, that next time the world will be kinder. But you don't need comfort right now. You need the truth. And the truth is this. The failure you're carrying is not the end of your story. It's the price of admission to the next chapter. Everyone you admire has a chapter like yours. The difference is what they did on the morning after. Look at where you are. Really look at it. The plan fell apart. The thing you built didn't hold. The people who doubted you got to say, I told you so. It stings. Let it sting. Feel every bit of it, because that feeling is information. It's telling you exactly how much this matters to you. Nobody hurts like this over something they don't care about. The pain is proof that you found something worth fighting for. Most people never do. Now here's what failure actually is, because most people have it wrong. Failure is not the opposite of success. Failure is the raw material of it. Every fall carries a lesson that no victory could ever teach you. When you win, you learn almost nothing. You celebrate, you move on, you assume you had it figured out. But when you fall, the whole machine gets opened up. You see exactly which part broke. You see what you ignored, what you rushed, what you trusted that you shouldn't have. Losing is a masterclass, and the tuition is pain. So don't waste it. The worst thing you can do with a failure is refuse to look at it. The second worst thing is to stare at it forever. Study the fall once, honestly, without excuses and without mercy. Write down what it taught you, and then close the book, because the review session is over and the next attempt is waiting. And let me tell you about the next attempt. It's not starting from zero. That's the lie your discouragement keeps whispering, that all that work was wasted, that you're back at the beginning. You are not at the beginning. You're starting from experience. The first attempt cost you years because you didn't know the road. The next one is faster because you do. Every scar on you is a map of a mistake you'll never make again. Do you understand what that makes you? Dangerous. A person with your dreams and none of your scars is a beginner. A person with your dreams and all of your scars is a storm waiting for weather. There's a question you have to answer now, and nobody can answer it for you. The question is not, why did I fall? You've done that work. The question is, who do I want to be in this story? Because every great story you have ever loved has this exact moment in it. The moment where everything is lost, where the hero is on the floor, where the music goes quiet. You are in that scene right now, and you know how the story goes. The scene where they stay down is called a tragedy. The scene where they get up is called a comeback. Same floor, same pain, different ending. The ending is a choice. People will remember your comeback longer than they ever remembered your fall. Nobody tells stories about the person who never stumbled. There is no legend without a losing season. The fall is what makes the rise worth watching. Right now, somewhere in your future, there's a version of this story where you tell it with a smile, where the disaster you're living through becomes the best part, the part where everything turned. But that version only exists if you get up and write it. So here's what tomorrow looks like. You wake up, and the failure will still be there, sitting on your chest like it has been. And you will get up anyway. You would do one small thing, not the whole dream. One thing. Send the message. Fix the first broken piece. Walk the first mile. Rebuild one brick. Because comebacks are not made of speeches. They're made of small, stubborn, unglamorous mornings stacked so high that one day you look down and realize the fall is far below you now. Stop rehearsing the fall. Start rehearsing the rise. You spend enough nights replaying what went wrong. Spend tomorrow building what comes next. The world hasn't seen what you learned yet. The The world has only seen the version of you that didn't know these lessons. That version is gone. What's coming back is something the world has never met. Get up, not because it doesn't hurt. Get up because it does, and because you're the kind of person who rises with the hurt still in them. That's not weakness carried along. That's armor being fitted. The fall was one chapter. It doesn't get the whole book. Pick up the pen. Nobody warns you about the boring days. They warn you about failure. They warn you about critics. They make movies about the big loss and the big win. But nobody sits you down and tells you the truth about the middle, the long, flat, gray middle, where nothing is failing and nothing is flying, where you do the work and the world doesn't even blink. That middle is where almost everyone quits. Not in the storm, in the silence. Here's the truth that will save you if you let it sink in. The boring days are the work. They're not the gap between the important moments. They are the important moments. They just don't feel like it because progress on any single ordinary day is invisible. You can't see a muscle grow in one workout. You can't see a skill sharpen in one practice. You can't watch a tree grow by staring at it. But stand back far enough and the tree is a forest. Every giant thing you have ever admired is just boring days compounded. Think about how compounding actually works because your brain lies to you about it. Your brain expects progress to be a straight line. Work in, results out every single day. But real growth doesn't move in lines. It moves in silence for months, and then all at once. The bamboo farmer waters the ground for years with nothing to show. Then the shoot breaks the surface, and it grows 90 feet in 6 weeks. Everyone calls it sudden. There was nothing sudden about it. The roots were growing the whole time, underground, where nobody claps. You were in the root season. The work you did today went underground. The work you'll do tomorrow will go underground too. And your doubt will whisper that underground means wasted. It does not mean wasted. It means stored. Now let's talk about motivation, because this is where people get trapped. Motivation is a guest. It visits when the project is new, when the playlist is right, when you've just watched something inspiring. And then it leaves because that's what guests do. If your plan requires motivation to show up every day, you don't have a plan. You have a mood. And moods don't build anything. What you need instead is a standard. A standard is different. A standard doesn't ask how you feel. A standard says, this is what I do on a Tuesday, whether I'm inspired or exhausted, celebrated or ignored. The professional and the amateur feel the same reluctance at 5 in the morning. The difference is that the professional stopped negotiating with it years ago. The decision was made once, and now it's just carried out daily. That's the secret nobody wants to hear. The highest performers on earth have simply made fewer decisions than you. They don't decide every morning whether to show up. That decision is already made. All that's left is to obey it. And when you show up on the days you're average, something profound happens. An average day of work beats a perfect day of planning. A slow mile beats the treadmill you didn't touch. A bad page beats the masterpiece you didn't write. You know what you call 100 bad pages? A draft. You know what you call 0 perfect pages? Nothing. Done poorly today beats done perfectly never. Lower the bar for starting, and keep the bar for stopping exactly where it is. Here's something else the boring days are doing for you while you're busy resenting them. They are filtering out your competition. Right now, all around you, invisible, thousands of people who started when you started are quieting. Not loudly, quietly. A skip day here, a postponed week there. A maybe this isn't for me, whispered in month 4. The boring middle is a sieve, and it shakes out everyone who is only in it for the feeling. Every gray morning you survive, the crowd around you thins. You don't have to be the most talented person who started. You just have to be one of the few still standing when talent gets tired. So how do you survive the middle? You shrink the frame. Stop looking at the mountain. The mountain will paralyze you. Look at the next step, only the next step, and make it so small it would be embarrassing to skip. Then take it and let the day be one. A one day is a small thing, but you don't build a life out of years. You build it out of days. When the day and the years take care of themselves. And keep a record, not of how far you have to go. That ledger will crush you. Keep a record of how far you've come. On the days when the work feels pointless, open it. Look at the person who started. They couldn't do what you now do without thinking. That distance, the one behind you, is real and measured in yours. The distance ahead is imaginary until you walk it. One more thing. Stop waiting for it to get exciting. It might not. The view from the top will be exciting. The person you become will be exciting. But the road itself is gravel and weather and Tuesdays, all the way to the end. Make peace with the gravel. Learn to love the sound of your own footsteps on it. The people who last aren't the ones who found a way to make the work thrilling. They're the ones who stopped needing it to be. Today is a boring day. Nothing dramatic will happen. No one will see what you do. There will be no music. Do it anyway. Water the ground. Trust the roots. The forest is coming. Let's talk about the thing you're not doing and the voice that's stopping you. You know the one. It doesn't shout. It's smarter than that. It sounds reasonable. It sounds like wisdom. It says, not yet. It says, you need more preparation. It says, what if it doesn't work? What will they think? Who are you to try this? That voice has kept you in the waiting room of your own life, and it has done it politely, one sensible sounding excuse at a time. Here's the first thing you need to know about fear. It's not a signal that something is wrong. It's a signal that something matters. Fear doesn't show up for things you don't care about. Nobody lies awake terrified of a thing that means nothing to them. So when the fear arrives, read it correctly. You have found something with weight. Congratulations. Most people spend their whole lives avoiding anything heavy enough to be frightening, and their lives stay exactly as light and exactly as small as their choices. The second thing, fear is a terrible fortune teller. Sit down for a moment and audit its record. Think of everything the voice ever predicted. The presentation where you'd humiliate yourself. The conversation that would end everything. The risk that would ruin you. Now, count how many of those prophecies actually came true the way fear promised. Almost none. And the ones that did go wrong, you're still here. You survived 100% of them. Fear has one of the worst prediction records in history, and yet you keep treating it like an oracle. You wouldn't take investment advice from someone who is wrong 90 times out of 100. Stop taking life advice from your fear and understand what that voice actually is, because this changes everything. It's not your enemy. It's your bodyguard. An old, loyal, badly outdated bodyguard, trained thousands of years ago for a world of real dangers, animals in the grass, exile from the tribe. It can't tell the difference between a predator and a public speaking event. It can't tell the difference between exile and an unanswered message. So it protects you from all of it equally with the same alarm. It means well. It's just wrong about what century you live in. You can thank it for its service and still refuse to let it drive. Because here's what the comfort it's selling actually costs. The voice says, stay here, where it's warm and known and safe. But look closely at the fine print. Safe from what? Safe from embarrassment? Maybe. Safe from rejection? Maybe. But not safe from time. Time keeps moving whether you act or not. The years pass at the same speed in the waiting room as they do in the arena. And that's the real horror the voice never mentions. You can lose everything you were meant to build, not through catastrophe, but through caution. Nothing fails like the attempt that was never made. At least the failed attempt leaves lessons. The unmade one leaves only the question, and the question gets heavier every year. What would have happened? Regret and fear are both painful, so compare them honestly. Fear is loud but short. It peaks the moment before you begin, and it starts shrinking the second you move. Regret is quiet but permanent. It compounds. It waits for you at reunions and in the middle of the night and in other people's success stories. If you must choose a pain, then you must choose the one that ends. The burn of doing fades in minutes. The ache of not doing can last the rest of your life. Now, here's the practical secret that changes people. Courage is not the absence of fear, and it was never supposed to be. Courage is a sequence. It's feeling everything, the racing heart, the dry mouth, the screaming doubt, and taking the first step while the noise is still playing. You don't wait for the fear to go away. It goes away because you moved. Action is not what happens after confidence arrives. Action is what confidence is made of. Every confident person you've ever envied built that confidence out of scared first steps that they took anyway. There is no other material. It cannot be bought, borrowed, read, or watched into existence. It is manufactured only in the doing. So shrink the fight to winnable size. You don't need to defeat fear forever. In general, for all things. You need to defeat it for 5 seconds, once. The 5 seconds it takes to send the thing, say the thing, sign up for the thing, start the thing. Fear is a sprinter, not a marathoner. It wins the argument, but loses the race. 5 seconds of movement beats an hour of its best rhetoric. Count down from 5 and go before the committee in your head finishes convening. And when it gets loud, and some days it will get loud, ask it one simple question. What exactly is on the other side of this fear? Not vaguely. Exactly. Behind almost every fear you have is something you deeply want. Behind the fear of the stage is the message you want heard. Behind the fear of asking is the life you want built. Behind the fear of starting is the person you want to become. Fear is not standing in a random spot. It is standing directly in front of your treasure every time. Use it as a map. Where the fear is biggest, dig there. You will be afraid tomorrow. That's fine. Be afraid with your shoes on. Be afraid mid-stride. Be afraid in the arena, where the fear at least buys you something, instead of in the waiting room, where it costs you everything. The voice will come with you. Let it. It gets a seat, not the wheel. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. This one is for you if it hurts right now. Not the small hurt, the real one. The season where everything is heavy at the same time, where you're tired in a way that sleep doesn't fix, where you keep performing fine for everyone around you while something in you is quietly asking, how much longer? First, hear this clearly. Nothing is wrong with you. This is what the hard part feels like. Nobody gets the life they want without walking through seasons like this one. Not the strong ones, not the successful ones, not the people whose lives look effortless from the outside. You are not off the path. This is the path. The storm doesn't mean you took a wrong turn. Some stretches of every real road go straight through weather. Now let me tell you what this season is doing, because pain without meaning is unbearable, but pain with a purpose can be carried. Right now, under all this pressure, you are being introduced to yourself. Comfort never makes that introduction. In comfort, you meet your preferences. In fire, you meet your foundations. Every heavy season you've survived taught you what you're actually made of. Not what you hoped, not what you claimed, what you proved. And you have survived every single one so far. Your record against hard days is undefeated. Read that record when you doubt yourself. It's the only statistic that matters tonight. There's an old truth about how strength is built, and it isn't gentle. The muscle tears before it grows. The comfort zone never made anyone. Pressure is not the interruption of your development. Pressure is the mechanism of it. The diamond and the coal are the same material. The difference is what they endured. I'm not telling you to be grateful for the pain. You don't have to thank the storm. I'm telling you the storm is not wasted. Nothing this heavy is wasted, unless you drop the lesson and keep only the bruise. But let's also be honest about carrying it, because motivation that ignores reality is just noise. Enduring doesn't mean pretending. It doesn't mean grinning through the cracks and telling everyone you're fine. Strength that can't admit it's struggling isn't strength. It's performance, and performance is collapse. The strongest thing you can do in a heavy season is simplify. Cut everything that isn't essential. Rest without guilt. Rest is not retreat. It's how soldiers stay soldiers. Tell one true person the truth, then get back up in the smallest possible way. You don't have to conquer the season today. You have to get through today. That's the whole assignment. Because here's how humans actually survive the impossible, never all at once. You would break if you try to lift the whole year. Don't lift the year. Lift the hour. Anyone can do the next hour, then the one after it. Big storms are outlasted in small pieces, and the people who make it are rarely the strongest. They're the ones who kept breaking the unbearable into bearable sizes and refusing to do more than that or less than that. And watch what you say to yourself in the dark, because your words become your weather. There's a difference between saying, "This is hard," and saying, "This is impossible." The first is true and keeps you moving. The second is a verdict, and verdicts end movement. You can say, "I'm carrying a lot," without saying, "I'm broken." You can say, "This season is brutal," without saying, "My life is over." Precision matters most exactly when the pain is trying to make you speak in absolutes. Never negotiate your future while standing in your worst moment. You wouldn't judge a whole movie by its darkest scene. Don't sentence your whole life based on this one. Remember, too, that this has an ending. Every storm you've ever been inside felt permanent from the inside. Every single one, and not one of them was. The feeling of forever is a symptom of the storm, not a fact about it. Seasons end. That's the one thing seasons are guaranteed to do. Your job is not to end the storm. Your job is to still be standing, even leaning, even kneeling, when it ends on its own schedule. Outlasting is a strategy. Some victories look like triumph. Others just look like still here. Still here counts. Still here is sometimes the most heroic sentence in a whole life. And when it ends, and something will be different. Not just the relief. There's a version of you on the other side of this season who has a kind of quiet in them that can't be taught, only earned. The people who've been through real weather carry it. You can hear in how they talk a steadiness, a depth, a way of not panicking at small things anymore. That steadiness is being forged in you right now, tonight, in the very hours that feel most pointless. You will use it for the rest of your life. And one day someone you love will be inside their own storm, and you will know exactly what to say because of now. So tonight, just this, eat something, rest, let the day end, it has done enough. And tomorrow, get up and take the hour. Just the hour. You've survived every hard day so far. Tomorrow doesn't know who it's dealing with. Still here. Say it. Still here. Let me tell you a secret about the finish line. It isn't what you think it is. You've been imagining it for years. The moment where the work pays off. The result, the number, the title, the day you finally arrive. You've pictured how it will feel, maybe even rehearsed it. And because the picture is so bright, you've been treating everything between here and there as the annoying part, the tax you pay, the road you'd skip if you could. But here's what everyone discovers at every finish line ever crossed, and almost nobody believes until they get there. The moment is short. Shockingly short. You work for years, and the arrival lasts an evening. The medal goes in a drawer. The number becomes a new baseline. The title becomes a word under your name in places you rarely look. By the following week, there's a new mountain on the horizon because that's how you're built. And honestly, you wouldn't want to be built any other way. So if the moment is short, what was the point? Here's the point. The real prize was never waiting at the line. The real prize was being assembled the whole way there, piece by piece, mile by mile. And the prize is you, not the result. The person who became capable of the result. Chase a goal for years, and you will end up holding two things, the goal, which fades, and the character, which doesn't. The discipline you built getting there, that stays. The courage you practice, that stays. The person who can get up early, endure boredom, survive failure, keep promises to themselves, that person remains after every trophy tarnishes. Goals are how we trick ourselves into becoming someone. The becoming is the treasure. The goal was just the bait. And this is why the road deserves more respect than you've been giving it. Every day you resented as an obstacle was actually the workshop. The early alarm wasn't standing between you and the dream. It was the dream being built, and its overalls unrecognizable. You kept asking, when do I arrive? And life kept answering, you're arriving every single day. Look down at your hands. Look at what they can do now that they couldn't do before. Arrival isn't a place. It's a process wearing a disguise. Think back honestly. Think about who started this journey. Remember them? Remember what used to frighten that person? What used to be impossible? What used to take everything they had? Now look at what you did last month without even noticing. The impossible things became your warm-up. That's not because the task shrank. It's because you grew so gradually that nobody threw you a party for it, so steadily that even you missed it. Growth is the quietest miracle there is. It never announces itself. One day you simply notice that the hill that used to break you is now just part of your route. Now, since the road is the prize, let me tell you how to walk the rest of it. Keep promises to yourself like they're sacred, because they are. Every kept promise is a brick in the person you're becoming. Every broken one is a crack. Be the kind of person whose word means something in the one room where it matters most, the one inside your own head. And stop postponing pride. You've told yourself you'll be proud when it's finished. That's a robbery in progress. Be proud now of the streak, of the standard, of the fact that you're still in this thing years after the excitement wore off. Pride that waits for the finish line misses the entire race. And when you do cross a line, and you will cross many, do the two things winners always do. First, turn around. Look back down the whole road, every switchback, every storm, every boring gray mile, and give it its due because that road is the achievement. The line is just its punctuation. Second, look for the next mountain, not because the last one wasn't enough, but because you've learned the secret. You don't climb to arrive. You climb because climbing is what you're for. A ship is safe in the harbor, but that's not what ships are built for, and by now you know exactly what you were built for. Someday, far from now, You'll be at the true finish line, the one every life crosses. And at that line, they will not ask you for your numbers. What will matter is the shape of the whole journey. Did you become everything you had the raw material to become? Did you use the boring days? Did you get up when it would have been so reasonable to stay down? Did you run anyway? The person who can answer yes to those questions has already won, whatever the scoreboard said along the way. So tomorrow morning, when the alarm sounds and the road asks its one daily question, answer it differently than you used to. Not how much further, but who am I becoming today? Then lace up, step out, and add one more mile to the masterpiece. The finish line isn't ahead of you. You're running on it. You've been this whole time.